All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. See if we see that it has BSS, aka boudoir search sameness, with these two Google searches here. All right, so we're in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. And our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we're rising, that means we're attracting, we're bringing in people across the entire intent ladder, high intent to low intent. If we're falling, we're missing peeps somewhere along the intent ladder. We're not successfully bringing them in, or even making them aware we exist. So BSS, focusing here on this, this profile, this brand, focusing on the highest intent buyers, searching right now for boudoir photo shoots right in their city, social search and Google search. Then our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, focusing on BLCS. Right now, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads, and that's actually going to be the lowest intent people, in any location, but it's going to have the highest number of them. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, if we got 0 slots, we're basically dead, kind of dead in the water for on page 2 or deeper. And that's because we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only Google searches. So they never even go to page 2. So we care about this 80% cohort. This is the bulk of the market. So if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're invisible to them because they ain't clicking any page deeper at all. Now, if we got 1 slot on page 1, it's also as boudoir search sameness because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer. Everyone else on page 1's got most likely 1 link. So anyone going down the Google search, they're clicking us, they're clicking first link, second link, third link, all 10 links, opening up everyone, contacting everyone, getting a quote from everyone, price shopping everyone. And so boudoir search sameness, not good for us. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal, extremely common, but to have that few number of slots page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, which many people know about, which is market saturation, and 2, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, it's when someone gets a new iPhone, all of a sudden they're throwing up, Google My Business profile, Google My Business profile, basically increasing and throwing up their website, compete more for page 1 dominance. Or they get a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups. So basically, they're increasing the supply of boudoir photographers where the number of buyers in the market remains fixed, which means it's making it harder for every current boudoir photographer to get clients. A big tsunami when that happened was when we had COVID. So when we had COVID, massive, when people lost their jobs, they still need to earn an income. So a lot of them came out as boudoir photographers, saturating the market, making it harder for all the current sellers. Now, the second deeper root cause is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is what I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's basically kind of this false belief is assuming that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, as a result, we, if you got 1 slot, okay, got 1 slot on page 1 and get some more market saturation. All right, we're pushed down onto, basically we're pushed on to, page 2, but that's fine because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. So I guess it's not my time anymore. Hopefully they, they shut down their website. So maybe I got a chance to go back on page 1. But no, that is 100% incorrect. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots to the boudoir photographer that wants as many as they'll put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in only 10 days. And so I know for a fact Google will give the slots to those who truly want them. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because yeah, dude, basically we're either got 0 slots on page 1, so on page 2 or deeper. And again, approximately 80% of searchers. The bulk of the market ain't never going to see us because they're page 1 only. And then for 1 slot on page 1, we don't stand out. We're not different. We're being price shopped against everyone who also has, 1 slot on page 1. So what's the solution? We got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, SQ'd methodology. We know this is the solution because we invented it. Again, this is what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days, Google page 1 search. And this is actually the only solution I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Basically, we saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, so we show up there. And once we saturate there, the outcome is actually that flows into those results actually flow onto Google page 1 or Google. And if we get enough signals, obviously that puts us at higher chance Google puts us at Google page 1. So the SQ'd methodology, to use it, we have to accept page 1 equality as a false belief, which kind of breaks that brain barrier to, okay, what's the solution we can use? SQ'd methodology. And it's the only thing that I've seen that actually can successfully fight back against market saturation for boudoir photographers, because imagine we're in San Jose, California. It's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website. We're one of the boudoir photographers. Everyone's trying to be ranked page 1 Google, but we employ SQ'd methodology to the max, where we're taking up the first 300 slots for social search on all the platforms for our highest intent buyer keywords, which then flows onto Google. And let's say we're the first 300 slots on Google for our highest intent keywords as well. Well, that means literally the first 30 pages is filled up with only us on Google organic search. And so when we have that, buyers got to go to page 31 to essentially find any other competitors, and no one's going to page 31. So buyers can essentially only find us. So even if there's a ton of boudoir photographers, market gets more and more saturated, we stay dominating page 1, which is actually where the bulk of searches stop. Approximately 80% of them. So whose business is growing? Our business is growing. Whose business is disappearing? Everyone else. Even though the market's super saturated. Now, once you're with SQ'd methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Page 1 visibility is getting at least 2 out of 10 slots on page 1, where we're actually looking different. We do have a GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 though, 3 slots out of 10 slots. And once we actually achieve that, we get an extra bonus, which is for every new slot we take up on page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So this is kind of an extra bonus of ranking on page 1, is we're actually kicking a competitor off page 1, and we already know approximately 80% of searchers never even go to page 2. So we effectively make our competitors invisible. But we do want to hit the GBC minimum of at least 3 out of 10. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we don't have 0 out of 1. We 0 slots on page 1. We don't have 1 slot on page 1. We do not have 2 slots on page 1. Well, 2 slots on page 1 means we don't have BSS, but that means we have not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we want to hit that because we actually if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, we're kicking 2 competitors off, or maybe even 3. Also, we're going to look way more visible than simply having the people with 1 link, and very rarely will there be someone else with two links, but we'll look even better than them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to get visible. So this is our universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by kind of the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, the false belief of page one equality. And we achieve, or we utilize S-cube methodology. That's our solution. We achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So my results using this is my own S-cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So came in here, gonna look at the organic, and got organic slot 1, Instagram, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. But we got 9 out of 10 slots on Google here, simply from utilizing our S-cubed methodology. And this went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. So now we're going to look at this boudoir photography business. I'm going to check. So all this is based on the Google page one searches here. So we got these two Google searches. Let's check these out. So first one, we got boudoir photographer. Is that the first one? No, I think. Oh no, St. Augustine should be the first one. I got to do St. Augustine here. Boudoir photography, St. Augustine. St. Augustine. And there we go. All right. So let's see what we got here. Look for a supernova. There we go. So we got they got one slot. And all right, we got two slots here. Wedding wire. Yeah. We do not have BSS, so we got two slots here. That's fine. That's good. We perfect. Now we've not hit the GBC minimum. We want to have 3 out of 10 here, but hey, we do not have BSS for the search, so that's good. Now we want to hit the GBC 3 out of 10 minimum because that's kind of the only safe time we can say, hey, we're not going to disappear, we're not going to decline. We may not grow, but we'll probably at least tread water. So no BSS, but we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here. Now let's check our Jacksonville, Florida. All right, so still looking for the same supernova. So we got one. And nope. All right, none of these are specifically about us only. We got 1 out of 10. So we got BSS for the second search at Jacksonville, Florida. Bigger city. So BSS is more common in the bigger cities, obviously, more keyword competition. So we do not have BSS for St. Augustine, Florida. That's good, but we did not meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. But we do have BSS for the Jacksonville, Florida search. And we also did not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done your local search for the highest 10 buyer keywords in local and city, and either you got BSS for one or both of them, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google, and you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google will actually give us as many page one slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you're liking the initial benefits of utilizing S-cubed methodology, namely, more slots page one on Google, and the second initial benefit, which is kicking out our competitors from page one on Google, making them disappear in boudoir photographers. And we also understand the market saturation, the two prongs of that. Yeah, new iPhones, new gear, more boudoir photographers over time. It's unstoppable, cannot stop. But yeah, you get that. But you're also looking ahead, and you're saying, man, AI is going to be already taking people's jobs. It's going to be taking more and more people's jobs over time. And so you're like, okay, there's going to be actually kind of more and more people pushed into becoming boudoir photographers by AI taking people's jobs. And guess what? Everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera. So this will be on top of people upgrading their gear, become boudoir photographers. They'll be forced to. Same as back in like COVID. So you see now you're like, all right, S-cube methodology. This can actually fortify my position on page one. Like by putting so many links on page one that we even got backup links on page one that Google ain't ranked because we took too many slots, which means these new boudoir photographers coming in through, because of AI taking their job, they have no chance to even rank on page one. Kind of like building up the levees in Nolens, Louisiana to keep the ocean out because the ocean's below sea level. So you're seeing, okay, SQ methodology, kind of a future benefit is basically fortifying current position to the kind of standard peeps that'll be coming through as they upgrade their gear. And the other peeps who are new with WAF toppers, but they got laid off. So they needed to find some way to increase their income. And so you're liking that kind of future benefit. You also understand the two other future benefits, which is as we successfully execute SQ methodology every single day, day in, day out, what we're actually getting is we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand. It's kind of like, the columns at the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or like the hub and spoke, kind of like bicycle wheel, the hub in the middle and all the spokes coming out. That's the hub in the middle is our brand, our business name, our website, our social handles. We're building up this kind of back-end AI mindshare that our brand is connected to is entrenched, connected to all these thematic keyword columns, which gives us the future increased probability, the future benefit of higher chance of being recommended right here in the AI overview in the premier prime real estate up on the top of search. And I mean, this is amazing. And can't even get this AI overview by paying for an ad. It's all about kind of, keyword frequency, relevance, age, authority, all things like that. Kind of every day we build these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business name. Our probability of being recommended in AI overview increases. Same way as being recommended in AI search. It's the same exact thing. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, same exact process. And so if peeps are, peeps searching for boudoir photographer through AI search, dude, it's more and more every day. Maybe right now in Google standard search is like 90% of global search, but dude, AI search is more and more every single day, 100%. And last time I did a search for boudoir photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT and it recommended me 3. And I actually then went like Google standard search to that city. And I would see, okay, how many boudoir photographers are actually in the city? Like standard search. And dude, there was like 60. I was like, what? We got to find a way. We got to get one of these 3 slots in, AI search for these AI search apps. And so you like those 2 future benefits. You also understand my plan is don't work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. My current plan is to work with only 1 boudoir photographer per city. So you're seeing that, okay, you've decided to be the first mover because, becoming the first mover, you can actually kick out your competitors and actually, build a massive gap between you and all your competitors now and the future competitors coming from AI taking people's jobs. Like this massive AI backend mindshare gap with all these thematic keyword columns that we'll be focusing on. And you also understand the reverse, where if one of your competitors actually, jumps on with me first, well, then you're going to be locked out from using our S-cubed methodology. And you're actually going to have to go rederive it, derive it the first time for yourself. You'll never actually know if you've derived it correctly because we've perfected this. And then you're going to have to equal our execution every single day. But me and your competitor, would have already been working on it for a ton, successfully executing every day. So we'd already start with a massive gap ahead of you. So with you executing equally to us every single day, you would maintain that gap. So you'd have to actually double or triple our execution every single day to like be pulling back that thematic keyword mindshare from the AI systems and their backend brain from me and your competitor towards you. And who's got 80 hours to do all this? Plus, you won't be 100% confident you've derived it correctly anyway, so probably hard to even put in the effort initially to execute it. So you realize now that, and you're like, screw that. And you're like, screw that. I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather be the first one to actually, rather be the first one to, in my city, to block out all the competitors. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. And yeah, shoot me a DM when I open up for new patient intake. The hospital opens up again, because right now, new patient intake is closed. But when I do, open up the slots for new patient intake, then yeah, shoot me a DM, and we will see if you qualify to use our SQ'd methodology.